Mr. President, the question that has been postured before the Senate is, what has the stimulus bill done? It's got some fancy name, the Recovery Act, but in effect it's known as the stimulus bill. It was an expensive bill, and with the country in the economic doldrums that we've been, it was hoped that it was going to get money out there into the economy in kind of an electric shock therapy of stimulating the economy to get moving again, turning the engine of the economy, and therefore, as those dollars in the stimulus bill got injected into the economy and turned over, it was going to create jobs. And indeed, in the number of jobs that it was expected, something like 2.5 million jobs that it was going to create. And so the question is it stimulating the economy? Well, just a few minutes ago, the CEO of the Shands Healthcare Center at the University of Florida was in my office, and he told me the story about how the Shands Hospital in Jacksonville, there are a number of these Shands Hospital, it is a true medical center complex over several cities, but the one in Jacksonville, he said, was short $35 million, and he didn't know what he was going to do and how that was going to affect even possibly the shutdown of major portions of that hospital. But you remember one part of the stimulus bill is that we were putting out money into the Medicaid program to help the states who had not been doing their part on Medicare, Medicaid, which is a joint state operation, generally with a funding formula of about 55% federal, 45% state, and a lot of the states hadn't been putting their share in, or they had been constricting the eligibility for the poor and the disadvantaged to have access to health care for Medicaid. Well, in the beneficence of the stimulus bill, we put a lot of money back into the states. In Florida's case, it was about $4.5 billion just for Medicaid. It went from a funding formula in Florida's case of 55-45 for the 2-year period of the stimulus to a funding formula of 67% federal, 33% state. And that has allowed him to stop the major abrupt halt of that hospital in Jacksonville, Florida. Give you another example. The big county hospital in Miami, Jackson Memorial Hospital. A similar case of about a $45 million whack that was going to occur because of the state of Florida constricting its Medicaid funding. The stimulus bill for Florida allowed that additional money to flow, and therefore that hospital not to have its services terminated for a good part of the medically needy as well as the disabled. Give you another example. In my state, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has awarded over $100 million in stimulus funds to jumpstart crucial Everglades restoration projects such as the Picayune Strand and the Site 1 reservoir construction. And when you combine that with an additional $140 million from stimulus money for important projects like the water quality improvement projects down in the Florida Keys, then the spending in Florida is going to create about, just for that project, about 2,000 direct jobs and 5,000 indirect jobs. And overall, the stimulus bill is going to create over 200,000 jobs in the state of Florida. Give you another example. Seminole County School District. Seminole County is just to the north of Orlando. It's a major bedroom community for the metro Orlando area. Well, they had a plan to eliminate 139 teachers. And because of the stimulus bill, they reversed that plan. Clay County, just to the south of Jacksonville in northeast Florida, another bedroom community for the metro Jacksonville area. It was going to eliminate 26 elementary school teachers. They've reversed that. Give you another example. And I'm just taking a few examples. Miami-Dade County. It has one of the largest highway improvement projects in our state, the Palmetto Expressway. It's been under construction continuously since 1994 because of the mass of people that utilize that arterial roadway. And now they're going to be able to complete that and put hundreds of people to work. Give you another example. Northeast Florida, the military complex in Jacksonville of the Jacksonville Naval Hospital and Kings Bay and Mayport Naval Station. $40 million of this stimulus is going to be spent over the next several years for improvements for those hospitals and at the air station and at the Kings Bay submarine base. Architecture, construction, engineering jobs on top of the hospital facilities and energy-efficient upgrades. Another example, St. Johns County, St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest continuous settlement in the United States, 1565. We're going to celebrate the 450 years. We've got 42 years on the English settlement in Jamestown, Virginia. Not 1607, Jamestown, 1565, St. Augustine. Well, their school system, they were going to be laying off teachers and staff. And now they're going to get an infusion of an additional $9 million this year and another $9 million next year so that those teachers and staff won't have to be laid off. Go over to the west coast of Florida, Tampa. The Tampa International Airport. It's going to create 250 new jobs using the $8 million from the stimulus bill to go out there and to improve a taxiway on one of the major runways, a job that would not have been done had it not been for this bill. And I'll give just one final example. Go back to North Florida. We have a huge forestry industry in Florida. But as we have seen, Mother Nature has not been kind in bringing us droughts. And when a drought occurs, the forest becomes a tinderbox. And when a match is struck or a lightning bolt strikes, the forest erupts into an enormous fire that becomes a contagion that can rage out of control and impinge on urbanized areas. Well, the Florida Department of Forestry is putting contractors to work on fire mitigation projects in high-risk urbanized and suburban communities using a $900,000 stimulus grant. Mr. President, it's helping in my state, and I suspect that it's helping in all the other 49 states that are represented here on the floor of the United States Senate.